That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, my dudes, we just talked about some running backs that I'm definitely targeting, some guys at the beginning of drafts, some guys at the end of drafts that I think have actually access to elite level upside. Now, at the wide receiver position, it's a little bit harder to actually go through and find those values because we know that with wide receiver, you're betting on talent the majority of the time. We know that it's a lot harder to go through and get production at the wide receiver position, given the fact that you can be a player seeing snaps on every single down. Whereas if you don't have the talent, you're not going to get open and you're not going to get targeted. Whereas at the running back position, it's an easier job to go through and just look at the guys that project to get opportunity, go, okay, opportunity equals fantasy points. And of course, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but not nearly as much with wide receiver. But I have 3 guys here that I'm confident to say that I think their upside is vastly higher than where they're currently being drafted in high stakes redraft leagues. But before we dive into them, guys, please go down there, drop a like, leave a comment. And most importantly, if for whatever reason you are watching these videos and you have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you go down there and subscribe, because I honestly thought that almost everybody watching these videos was already subscribed. And then we started to get an extra 100 subscribers or so a day. And I was like, oh God, I guess it's not like everybody watching these videos is already subscribed. So please go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you can come out, you can hang out in the live chat with us during the video premieres, because I premiere every single one of these videos and I hang out in the live chat answering questions as they premiere. But let's go through and let's bring up our first wide receiver, someone that we have talked about literally over and over again the past few weeks. And what's great is his ADP is climbing. I mean, his price is getting more expensive, which sucks for us, but I mean, it's correct. And this is T. Higgins. Okay, so with T. Higgins, y'all know we actually made a video a couple weeks ago, and this is when he was getting drafted as like the wide receiver 27, wide receiver 28, and I was laughing at it. I was going, oh my God, you can draft T. Higgins as a wide receiver 3. That is someone we're targeting every single time. And we've actually had T. Higgins ranked as our wide receiver 20 for redraft leagues for quite a while now. And now you are seeing this price start to slowly climb for T. Higgins, where now he's being drafted as the wide receiver 25. I mean, he is being drafted directly behind Jamar Chase, Tyler Lockett, and I love to see that the gap between Chase and Higgins is starting to close, because usually, I mean, about a month ago in high stakes redraft leagues, Jamar Chase was going over a round ahead of T. Higgins. And I was all aboard the train saying, hey, T. Higgins is the wide receiver 1 in Cincinnati for 2021. I mean, we saw the production his rookie year. Jamar Chase took a year off of football. I mean, T. Higgins has that recent rapport with Joe Burrow. I want to go all in on T. Higgins. And now you're seeing that gap start to slowly close. But I mean, he hasn't overtaken him yet. And I really want people to start considering drafting T. Higgins a little higher, because right now I actually have T. Higgins ranked as our wide receiver 20. I have him ahead of Cooper Kupp, Brandon Ayuk, and Jamar Chase, all wide receivers that are currently being drafted ahead of him, as well as Tyler Lockett. No idea why Tyler Lockett is being drafted ahead of T. Higgins. And this is a player that had a great prospect profile coming out of Clemson. I mean, he's still only 22 years old. He was drafted with the first pick in the second round in 2020, and he was hyper productive at Clemson compared to the other players in his offense, knowing that Justin Ross was also a top college wide receiver prospect. Now, Justin Ross, something wrong with his vertebrae where, I mean, we don't necessarily know if he's ever going to get to the NFL now, but back in his day, I mean, Justin Ross was a fantastic wide receiver, and T. Higgins was the bona fide alpha on that offense. So all this adds up to T. Higgins being an elite prospect in his own right, and he comes out in his rookie season, and he was fantastic. Now, a big problem is that obviously with no Joe Burrow, I mean, the T. Higgins numbers look really, really bad. Where you look at the entire season, and T. Higgins was actually the wide receiver 40 in points per game. He actually averaged a little over 6.5 targets, which of course you like to see. The efficiency wasn't necessarily there though. I mean, he had 57 receiving yards a game. But a big thing that we want to look at is the sample from weeks 3 through 10. Because those are the weeks where T. Higgins was starting for the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow was starting for the Cincinnati Bengals. So those are really the only weeks that we can actually look at with both of those criteria being met. And during that stretch, you actually had T. Higgins average 17.23 fantasy points per game. Now that was good for the wide receiver 8. Wide receiver 8 at 21 years old when you actually had Joe Burrow and T. Higgins starting at the same time. Now, of course, I understand that there are some things changing in this offense. You do have Ja'Marr Chase coming in, and I'll be the first one to admit, Ja'Marr Chase, a way better wide receiver prospect coming out of LSU than T. Higgins was coming out of Clemson. Now, the difference between the two is you actually have T. Higgins way more pro ready given the fact that he's already played a year. He knows the system. And with Ja'Marr Chase, if we were playing in Dynasty, I mean, of course, we're going to have Ja'Marr Chase ranked over T. Higgins for 5 years down the line. But if we're just talking 2021 production, Higgins is the guy that you want. And I honestly am not too worried about Ja'Marr Chase capping the ceiling for T. Higgins, because we go through and we look at this offense. And while, yeah, they're adding Chase, they are losing so many targets that are now going to be available to T. Higgins, to Ja'Marr Chase, and Ja'Marr Chase can't take them all. I mean, you go through and you see that AJ Green had over 100 targets last year. Giovanni Bernard had almost 60 targets last year. You do some quick math, you go, okay, there are at the very least 160 targets available. You're going to expect the pass attempts to actually be up with Joe Burrow starting the entire season. So T. Higgins not only is going to get better quarterback play this year, not only is he going to continue to develop himself, we know that you expect the biggest jump for these wide receivers going into year 2, but at the same time, there's actually more volume available to him. Defenses aren't going to be able to just key in on T. Higgins himself. So this is a perfect situation for a fantastic talent at the wide receiver position. You're getting a slight discount on him. I'm definitely all over T. Higgins. Okay, so now the wide receiver that we are higher on than anybody else this year, and I promise you nobody's going to be higher than us, it's going to be Laviska Shenault. Okay, so if you pull up our draft guide right now that you can find over there on Patreon, you're going to find out that we currently have Laviska Shenault ranked as the wide receiver 26 in redraft formats. Now, if you pull up where he is going in high-stakes redraft leagues at the moment, I mean, right now he's being drafted as the wide receiver 39. The wide receiver 39, you're getting him as a wide receiver 4 when I'm ranking him as the wide receiver 26. Now, he's going in the exact same range of Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, Curtis Samuel, Marquise Brown, Antonio Brown, Michael Pittman, and Jarvis Landry. Now, I don't understand that at all. I mean, he's literally going within 7 picks of all those players. Now, if we were looking at Laviska Shenault, I'm looking at another player that I think can take a significant step up in year 2. Now, I understand he wasn't necessarily a fantastic rookie, but we have to look at the context that he played in. He played in possibly the league's worst offense. I mean, there's a reason they get Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick. It's because the team really couldn't do anything at all. And you're looking at Laviska Shenault, I mean, as someone that was still a rookie, still playing behind DJ Chark, playing on a team that couldn't drive the ball and was very inefficient. Now, going into this next year, he's still only 22 years old. He has prototypical size. He's 6'1", 227 pounds. He was a great prospect coming out of Colorado. I mean, he was an elite athlete. He had a ton of production. He had literally everything that you wanted to see. And this got him drafted with the 10th pick in the 2nd round. You love that profile from Laviska Shenault. And I know a big thing is, I mean, we have had people in the comment section going, well, Mason, you don't know, they're bringing in Marvin Jones. They drafted Travis Etienne. Those players are going to be taking up a ton of targets. And yeah, I agree. Those are both going to be players that are almost every down guys and are going to be utilized in the offense. But a bunch of no-name players last year got so much volume for Jacksonville, and now they are gone. Now, this is a big thing that people have a problem with in fantasy, is they just track the big names. They just track the guys like a Kenny Golladay, a Juju Smith-Schuster, or Will Fuller when they're leaving offenses. But these secondary, these third options on teams, when they leave, they actually open up a decent amount of volume. Because we go through the Jacksonville Jaguars offense right now. I mean, you have Keelan Cole going over to New York. You have Chris Conley. You have Tyler Eifert. You have James O'Shaughnessy all leaving this offense as well. And Cole actually got 88 targets. Conley got 63. Eifert got 60. And O'Shaughnessy got 38 as well. So that's 250 targets leaving this offense. 250 targets from last year out of Jacksonville are now available. Now, you can go through and you can divide this however you want. You can go give Marvin Jones 90 of them. You can go and give Travis Etienne his own share, but I'll say Etienne's also going to be stealing some from James Robinson, so he's not even going to take that entire pie. And then you split the rest between Chark and Laviska. And Laviska here, I think, is actually going to be someone that is the value currently. Now, for whatever reason, in high stakes redraft leagues, his price hasn't adjusted because in our flock leagues, I mean, you're seeing that Laviska Shenault sometimes goes over DJ Chark, which I think that is a little rich. I actually love both the value of DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault right now because the volume is there. You can actually expect the pass attempts to possibly go up with Trevor Lawrence. The efficiency is going to be way higher. So yeah, I really love drafting Laviska Shenault at his current price point. Now, thank you, my dudes. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Of course, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. And if you have not already, go check out our draft guide over there on Patreon. I'm sure you'll love it. Shoot me that DM and I can get it for you. And yeah, that's all I got for you, my dudes. And have a great day. We've gotten a ton of new members joining the flock. Thank you, Grind for Gold, Devin, Bungified, Brian, Brody, Victor, Chris, Grant, Trevor, and David. Thank you, my dudes.